Welcome back to BHookedCrochet.com. I'm your host Brittany. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do the surface crochet technique. This technique is good for any type of accent. You can even write on your crochet projects using this technique. So if you want to join along, grab your hook, grab some yarn, and you're going to need a piece of crochet that you can actually do this technique on. So I'm going to be using a washcloth that I had crocheted just using the single crochet stitch, and I'm going to surface crochet on that project. The surface crochet technique is really cool. When I say surface crochet, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So this washcloth I have already crocheted just using the single crochet stitch, and after I was completely finished with the washcloth, I just added this row of yellow, or this line of yellow, using the surface crochet technique. And so that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to do a very simple line just to demonstrate the technique. It's actually much simpler than you might think. So we just want to start off with a slip knot, and we'll just leave that on our finger. And as I mentioned, I want to go in this line here, so in between all of these stitches. And so I'm going to start out in this stitch here, so just insert your hook into the stitch that you want to work. And looking at it from the back side, we can just place the slip knot on our hook, and then we'll pull it through, and now we want to locate the next stitch that we want to work into, or in my case I'm actually working in between stitches. So I'm just going to put my hook in between the next couple of stitches, and then I'm just going to wrap the yarn around the hook. Then you'll pull that through, and then you'll pull it through the loop on your hook. Now we'll put our hook into the next stitch and then wrap the yarn, pull it through and through the loop on your hook. And that's really all there is to it. There's a little bit of practice involved because, as you can see, it's quite different than just regular crochet. I typically find that I hold the hook differently and I hold the yarn differently than I normally do if I'm crocheting with, just in the regular style. An important thing to note when surface crocheting is your tension. You want to be very aware of your tension. And so you'll notice when I'm pulling the loop through the washcloth in this case, I'm pulling up pretty far on that loop before I actually pull it through the loop on my hook. And I'm doing that because I don't want these stitches to be too tight. And it's actually really easy to make these stitches too tight. And what happens if you make your stitches too tight is it's going to affect the overall shape of your finished project. So in this case of the washcloth, if I've got my stitches too tight, then it's going to pull on the edges of the washcloth. It's going to kind of pull them inward, and it'll affect the shape. So basically, you want to match the tension on your surface crochet to the tension on whatever it is that you're surface crocheting on. And it's going to come with practice. Like I said, it's really easy to make these stitches too tight. So just to kind of give you a close-up of how I'm holding things, you're going to find the way that works best for you, but I still hold my yarn in my yarn hand just as normal, propping it over my finger, and when I insert my hook into the stitch, then I'm basically just wrapping it around that working yarn. So when you hold it in this way, the yarn is pretty much right where you need it to be in order to work with it. So when you're ready to bind off, all we're going to do is just trim that, and then we're just going to pull up on the loop. And at this point you would just go ahead and weave in the tails just like normal. So we have the tails on the front side or the right side of the work. So when you weave these in, you're going to pull them through the back side. So you can do this with your hook, or you can do it with your darning needle. Either way works just fine. Okay, so now they're on the back side, and from here you would just simply weave them in on the back side. Now you may notice something pretty cool. The surface crochet has a different appearance on the back than it does the front. And so you'll notice that you can actually use this in different ways depending on your need. If you just want two very thin stripes, then you would just want to keep it on, you would want to make it so that the back side of your surface crochet is on the front side of your work. And then vice versa. If you want this thicker sort of braided appearance, you want to make sure that this is on the top side or the right side of your work. This concludes our demonstration on the surface crochet. Be sure to check out BHookedCrochet.com for more free patterns and crochet techniques just like this one.